Yes, my people, how's it going? It's your boy Jay, and right now you're locked into the Clean Energy Show. Today we've got a very special guest in the building. This is my brother who, whenever we connect, the vibe is strong, the conversation's powerful, and the gems are forever being dropped. Not only is he going to be dropping gems on the show today, but he's also going to be joining me as we host the Clean Energy Show together. So we've got an amazing journey ahead of us. But I thought it's only right that you guys at home get to know my boy a little bit more about from where he's come from and the situations he's been through. So without further ado, we've got my brother Trizzy in the building. Yes, my people, good morning, good morning. It's time to wake up, it's time to get up, and it's time to turn up.
So get to those goals, get to those dreams, because you've got things to do.
That's right, my people, it's time to seize the day. We need to tick the boxes, see the people that you need to see, and let's make it happen. Have an amazing day, my people. How's it going, my brother?
I'm good.
Good to see you, man.
I'm good.
Bro, that's it, shining as always.
Have to.
That's it, man. Well, I wanted to get straight into it, Trizzy.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's take it back to the beginning and tell the people a little bit more about, you know, where you've come from and what was it like growing up in the life of Trizzy.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I've grew up in a nice household. I would say I grew up in two households. So I had mum's house and then I had my grandparents' house and everything like that. And yeah, I think my childhood was nice growing up. I mean, I was fortunate to have my grandparents there as well. As I was coming up as well. They heavily influenced me. Right. As well with this, you know. So
did you grow up, what was the dynamics of your house? Was you living with?
Well, originally I was from South London,
right?
With living with mum and stuff like that, and then Nan and Grandad was up by northwest London. So when mum obviously separated from pops, we came up to there, and because my mum had like shift patterns and everything like that, I would stay with my Nan and Grandad. And my nan didn't want me to go and stay with anybody else if my mum was working or something like that. So, as I said, I just had the two houses that I was going back and forth, so I was kind of blessed in that way.
Was that both in South London or?
No. As soon as we moved from South, we was up by, by northwest London.
West, okay, so you moved down with Mumsy, was it?
Yeah, it was with Mumsy, and Mumsy, they said, yeah, let's go and see Nan and Grandad.
Oh, right, okay. Was Pops around at all? Or was he?
Well, Pops, he was there in the beginning, but he wasn't really about like that.
Right, he wasn't. Okay,
no.
Okay. How was that then? So what age did your parents break up then? Was that like a?
To be fair, I think it must have been probably when near enough when I would say like when my sister was born. So I must have been about like 6.
Right, okay.
Or something like
young
that.
age then. Similar to me.
Yeah.
Similar to me. My parents broke up when I was 7, so that's about the same age. No, It's a tough age.
Yeah. Because especially when you're running around with your friends and everything like that, and you see sometimes their parents are together or whatever. But to be fair, as I said, it's like it wasn't so. At that time, I don't really felt like it was something I was craving for too tough, because like I said, I had my nan and my granddad, and like my nan and my granddad was my actual second parents,
right.
But to me they were just on the same level, so all three of them came in the same. Do you know what I mean? It's like nan, mum, and it's the same thing. Okay. I probably spent more time with my nan.
And it's nice to hear you're grateful of that as well.
Of course. So but I learned that through.
Okay, it takes time.
Yeah.
And you look back, you're like, okay, I had it. You had a beautiful situation in front of you. It wasn't the normal, but it was still a nice situation.
Yeah, of course.
And did you say so? So would you say your mum and Nan and Grandad, they played a big role in your life?
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Huge.
Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Well, basically, as I said, it's like they're very hard working. My nan literally came from St. Lucia. My mum's St. Lucian as well. Okay. My nan came from St. Lucia. I think it was during a techie time, let's just put it that way. And then obviously she remarried to the granddad that I'm talking about now. So they had a very different dynamic, because granddad he's white from Queen's Park, and then my nan was like, she's very fair and everything, like light skin from St. Lucia. So just as I go back and I think about how they actually had the love for each other, and probably all those barriers they might have encountered, I think they poured that in the house. That's why me and my sister, like coming from that household, it's a lot of confidence and everything from there. There's nothing, outsiders can say things, but it won't affect us as much as probably somebody that might take a heavy load on. So I would say I get the confidence from my nan and my granddad.
So you say when you say the techie time, you reckon that was to do with obviously?
Yeah, obviously, because it was during the riots and everything like that. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, nan come over, granddad's there. Obviously, that kind of relationship wasn't really seen all the time and everything like that. So, but I mean, by the time I was born, my granddad was always there before I was there. So I didn't know no different anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's only when you grow up, you start seeing the different dynamics you can see and everything like that.
So I'm guessing you learnt from their strengths with that situation there as well. You must have learnt a lot from them.
Yeah, 100%.
Just shining through that, not worrying too much about what everyone else was saying.
Nah.
They still kept it close.
Yeah, because my nan was a very strong character.
Okay.
So
like yourself?
Well, if I got those habits, then I'm all right.
There you go, my brother. That's what we
If
like
I
to
got
hear.
those habits.
So yeah, it's nice to know you've had the influence of your mum, your nan and granddad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the absence of maybe your dad from when your parents did split. So like, let's say growing up and even now, how did that make you feel that, you know, he wasn't sort of around?
To be fair, as I said, the dynamics with the two households and like they literally are up the road from where mum was situated and stuff. Because my granddad and my nan were so dominant and I grew up in like a marital home.
Okay.
My dad not being there wasn't really something that, I would say it probably affected me a bit later on, but not when I was younger.
Right.
Because my granddad was actually my male father figure in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, didn't really miss the guy.
Didn't
I know it
feel-
sounds a bit
yeah,
raw,
yeah.
but
So you didn't feel like you was lacking it at the time?
no, not at the time. I would say going from like primary school, going into high school, nah.
Okay. And then you mentioned later on down the line, you started feeling, what was going on there?
Well, I think that's probably around the time when you start saying to yourself, okay, when it's time to start becoming a man, and then as I said, because my granddad was white as well, you start getting where everything is just normal, because it wasn't really a big thing to me. It's just like only when my friends would say little things. And my granddad is a black cab driver, so anytime I jump in the back of the cab, everybody thought I was probably trying to, I don't know, I'm either coming from some super rich place or I'm gonna try and do a number on the cab and try and pop the cab open and run off where I'm going. They're not getting the dynamic of that's my granddad. But I mean, because Nan and Granddad were so big, like they were big characters within the area and stuff like that, everybody already knew in a sense and things like that. So my dad not being really around, it wasn't really a big deal. It's only when it started coming into, when you're becoming a man and then you start realizing, okay, cool, there's certain pressures that you'll face with different complexions and whatever the way you interact and stuff. But because my family is just like one big mixed cocktail, I probably was one of the weirdest little kids going into different rooms. You could throw me in a I don't know, say an environment where it'd be white dominated and I'll just be getting along, knowing, understanding the dynamics of things. You throw me in a black dominated thing and it just goes like that. But my family's, you know, heavily mixed, so I'm blessed with it, you know what I mean?
So you was versatile. You
Yeah,
could adapt to the room.
Yeah.
That's what we like. I feel that's I like that. So that's what we like to hear. So so would you say the choices your dad made as a father, has that affected the way now you're a father yourself?
Yeah.
Has that affected the way you
Greatly.
are? Yeah.
Greatly.
Tell us.
Because I think when I started realizing, it was a thing where like, cool, he always had access. My mum was never this kind of person to be like, oh no, you can't come in this, and he had free will to do what he was going to do.
Yeah.
And because he made the decisions for whatever reasons was going on in his life not to be there. For me, personally, I always look at my daughter, who's growing up way too fast for my liking now. I always, like, since she's been born, I always tried to say, look from her lens to see how things was.
Yeah.
So even when me and her mother had split apart, I made it a point of duty for me to always be around so she knows. And that's one thing I'm always preaching to, you know, a lot of males that start going through parenthood or anything like that. Like, sometimes it's not even just about financials, do you know what I'm saying? Or just about what the argument could be and why things are there. Like, you just need to have the kids know you're about.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And that is very strong. But as I said, because I had my granddad there, I had also an extra layer of how to be a father as well.
Yes. Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
You had that. Okay. Would you say that as a child you would need a father figure in your life?
Yeah.
Not you personally, but a child.
Yeah. I think you need both.
Yeah.
I think there's balance. I mean, like, even like if you've got daughters, there is going to be a point in time where if you're a single father and you're bringing up your daughter, that she will need some female, you know, upbringing or some, you know what I'm saying, some guidance or something like that, because it's difficult to navigate. I mean, look, you think about how high school was and how treacherous it could be at break time. 100%. You know, the cussing's going around, you're going through things, you're figuring yourself out, you know, you're developing yourself from being like baby to wanting to develop into an adult, but you got to go through that tricky space, and the only person that can literally educate you on that is, you know, somebody that's gone through it. I'm not saying that, you know, you solely need that, but I do feel it is important to have that structure. Was
there ever a point in your life where you thought, or the situation that the fact your dad wasn't playing the position of a father at points in your life, did that affect your mental health at all? Or was you ever in your head where was there a point where you was just struggling with the idea of it and what it really was? I
think for me, going through it, because I believed I didn't really miss that part, it's only when I think me and him had a conversation, we had a nasty argument, and I must have come up with some great grades, and then I was transitioning into like going into college and doing into things like uni afterwards, and I thought to myself like, well, I ain't heard this person come at all, and he did a little nasty thing of where he was talking to me like I was an adult, but because he was so absent, he wanted the respect of me being a child, but because there's no familiarity with it,
doesn't work like that.
Like, do you know what I mean? That little entitlement thing, it just blew up. Do you know what I mean? And then that's when I literally started switching on, and I thought to myself like, I don't even get that. Like, I was happy to come and tell you some information of what I've done, but you've come on the phone and you've made me feel as if to say I haven't played my part to come and get involved. But the funny thing is, I'm involved with that side of the family anyway, without his help. Right. So it's like I've done everything myself, And
you speak to your dad's side of the family?
I talk to my dad's side of the family.
Okay, that's nice. You're still in contact with them?
Yeah, there's a lot of my brothers, a lot of sisters and everything that came out like big explosion. And I've got a huge family. Okay. So I felt like I had already done the work, so there's not really much he could really do to say anything. So at the time, when I was using the excuses, when I started getting into the Mischief and stuff like that, I would start adopting what my friends were going through if their dad wasn't around or anything like that. Right. Because, you know, once you step outside the door, everybody who you're around with all the time, sometimes you can adopt their problems. Yes. So I didn't really have the problem. Do you get what I'm saying? It was just like a personal thing for me of like, I just don't understand why he wouldn't, instead of, oh, he's not about, so I've got to act like this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not the same story I would have had with most of my friends.
So you mentioned that you say you've got a big family then. Is that from your dad's side then, or both sides?
Both sides are
brothers
huge.
And sisters?
Both sides are huge.
Talk to me.
On my dad's side, it will be, we're going a mad number. Definitely double figures.
Oh really? Yeah. Okay.
Definitely double figures.
Okay. And are you in contact with all of your brothers and sisters?
Not every single one, but the majority of us are in contact, and I think it's nice that even though we've all grown up with each other, especially the ones that are older and everything like that, everybody just checks in on each other and stuff, which is nice. You know, it doesn't cost nothing. It's not like we're doing this big old kumbaya and I missed you all my life. It's not like a this is your life moment, but it's just nice to have, like, say for the younger ones, I know when I was younger, if I had my older ones earlier, that would have been nice. But I've got my older ones now with me, and like we can contact every day. I mean, we chop it up nearly every day.
Love that.
If not every day. Do you know what I mean?
So it's nice to know that even though there was maybe not so great decisions being made, overall you guys have made it work.
Yeah, because children grow up.
There's a beauty in that,
Children grow up, so like what you do to children now, just remember they grow up.
And boy, you've grown up.
Yeah. There's not actually.
It's good to see. So if you could give advice to, let's say, a young man who's about to have a little one and he's thinking of maybe going down the same path your dad did at the time, what advice would you give to him?
He just needs to remember, as I said, children grow up. Yeah. So he just needs to like any situation I go in, say like, you know, if we have conversations or something happens with someone in my circle out there or anybody that just comes having a conversation with us, like I always try my best to put myself in their shoes and how they're looking through things. Yeah. I mean, with kids, there's a certain age where they depend on us. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you're just going to be absent and then something goes wrong, that's a guilt you'll never be able to get off your shoulders, because you'll say to yourself, look, if I probably was there, they wouldn't have gone through what they've gone through. Yeah. And then what's even worse, and my biggest fear, is when you got kids that grow up and they look at you as if they say like, I don't really need you, to be
Yeah.
honest. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Maybe you might fill in the gap, and maybe there's other pressures. I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here saying to myself, like, I'm the best dad in the world, because obviously I'm still learning on the job as well as anybody else.
Of course.
But I just feel like the biggest thing is just presence. So no matter what's going on, even if it's just a little phone call or something, you know, to just let them know, look, you might not be able to see me now because there's certain bits going on or whatever. Like, just be present, just be... Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just turn up when you're supposed to turn up. Just go and do that little battle that you need to do for see them for 5-10 minutes. Because it matters when later on comes. Because now I'd say, like, with my little one, say you don't get it right as you feel you do as a parent the first time. You're always going to be a grandparent. And if you notice, there's a special bond and a connection between grandparents and grandchildren.
Like yourself?
Yeah, that's like, do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just put it down to like grandparents were parents before. Yeah. They knew what to do, what not to do, and they went through it all. Now they can just enjoy the babies. Do you know what I mean? So you get spoiled by your grandparents. Do you know what I mean? And
they also, I feel like they learn from their mistakes they've made.
Of course.
Kids, and now they get another go at it as well.
100%, bro. Listen, I bet you any money, like all of us could probably talk to our parents and then say, oh, how was granddad? How was grandma when she was saying? Yeah. And I bet their stories are different versions. So, do you know what I mean? But it's cool. But yeah, I think it's important to have those things there.
So did you say that, so when you got in contact with your dad, did you say that was because you was...
We was in contact. It just like it wasn't really about.
Okay.
So it was just like every once in a while. So that's why I said it's like it wasn't like I felt the absence of him.
Right.
It's only when I started getting into Mischief, I started adopting that as an excuse.
Right.
So when I went through what I went through,
then
I started saying to myself, like, that is not the problem. Just admit you just was in some mischief because of bad decisions.
That's interesting. So tell me more about that. So you're saying when you first, was that in like school, as you was growing up, you was getting...
Yeah, as I was growing up, yeah.
You was getting into, what, you getting into...
I was good. I like to think of myself as good. I guess I was good.
Yeah.
But it was just, I just think, and I think the average male, I'm just talking generally, like, I think it's not so much of what your intentions were to do, it's just what you get caught up in.
100%.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So like, I had football, I had judo going on all through school. And as I said, like, my nan and my granddad were hugely great with providing, you know, opportunities to do it. My mum, exactly, I could ask my mum for things. She proper grafting and then get the job done. So there wasn't things that I wasn't able to do.
Yeah.
But then I would say, like, when things started slacking off and you start getting around the boys and everybody's this thing, you know, you're a different way of how you are inside the house to how you are outside the house.
Oh yeah.
So you know what I mean? That's you could say to your parents, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go and kick ball.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, you're all up in the bloody, I don't know, the shopping mall and you're doing stupidness, but the crew keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yep.
And then you find out it's like boys raising boys out there. And then when, as I said, if you carry on talking to some of your boys about their problems, you can adopt it, or you feel like you have to defend each other. So it's like your second family, you know? And then that's 9 times out of 10 when the mischief starts.
Okay. And what age did you feel like that happened?
I think that happened around college times, college going onwards. And why the mischief, I would say, started for me is because it was probably a pivotal point where I wasn't too sure what I was going to do.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So like I was in education just to do education because that's how my family setup was. And then, you know, you go to school, you do this, you do that. So I come up with the grades, I'm going on things, but then it starts going into that veering thing of like, you come to this crossroads and like, do I want to do this? But I really like doing that. And while you're figuring that out, you're out partying, you're out doing other things. If you say you got a relationship and that breaks down, now you're lashing out, you're doing silly bits like that. And as I said, when you're outside with the boys, instead of men being able to talk to each other, if you say you feel down, you feel weak, so you don't do that. So you're going to do something else wilder again. Then the next thing, you're caught up in the melee and the drama, and then this tit for tat thing, that side don't like that side, this. Because I don't think people just, I mean, I know you got the grooming side of things and how gangs can start and stuff, but I wouldn't turn around and say like all my friends, because there's a lot of us. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? I would have been like every day by my mum's house, there'd have been at least 8 man that would just pop in and be like, what are we doing today? And then we'll all just go about our business and stuff. But it's the first time everybody's making money, and it's the first time everybody's feeling a bit more they're strong with who they are. Do you get what I'm saying? So, but you're still figuring out, like in a hierarchy society kind of thing, of where your place is. So you start doing things where like, okay, look, we have to defend ourselves from that because these lot will come and try and do this. Or we have to network with these kind of people, but these people's businesses are side of this. And then you just get mixed into it. So it's not a gang that formulates. It's just like a group of, I like to call it as a group of boys. You know what I'm saying? Obviously there's other friends that.
And how did you think like your mum felt when she obviously see you go from that transition of like your son in the house and then she sees you go outside?
I'm
you know
pretty sure my mum would tell you she had stress.
Yeah.
She had stress because her thing was work and provide security for me and my sister and have like a better life than what she had when she grew up. So she provided us all those things. So to see probably me coming in or see the boys coming in and everyone's got like a little bit of, you didn't really do what you said you did today. Do you know what I'm saying? Knuckles swollen if you've been scrapping. I don't know, people coming in tipsy and stuff. And everybody has manners.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing.
Good people.
Yeah, everyone's got manners. As soon as they come in, it's like, hi, auntie, double kiss on the cheek, bring a little sign. Everyone's got manners. And same vice versa when I go to their houses and stuff. But I can understand as a parent why it'd be stressful, like, 1, 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, you don't hear your kids, you don't know what you're doing. And then next day, you might overhear them talking about some stupidness they got in. You know what I mean?
And I feel like the real eye-opener is that we've all got it to come as well. Like you.
Yeah, 100%. Bro, I'm panicking. I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
You knew what you was up to, yeah.
I'm nervous, but she's good for now.
That'll be good. So you mentioned, obviously, you got into like altercations and whatnot. You said you got up to... So is there any like pivotal points that you can remember, like going into that, into the streets and that? Is there anything that's happened?
I think my biggest pivotal point was, well, let's just put it this way. Within 12 months, I nearly got taken out and then my little one come. So it's just like my life's nearly gone and then giving life at the same instance. Yeah.
Okay, so tell like, so what you're saying, what you was in a situation where you nearly lost your life, or? Yeah,
the same thing I was talking about. You go out and I had a bad feeling. That's another thing. Like if anybody's listening to something, sometimes you need to listen to your gut feeling because before then we was going out all the time. I mean, we could literally find a rave on a Monday for this, a uni party on a Wednesday, another thing on a Thursday in Central, another thing on Friday, a house party Saturday. Like it was just constantly. But that was on the back of, if anybody traces back to why they were like doing things like that, I mean, now we're of an age now, so we can understand a bit better. You could literally pinpoint that part of where things started going a bit too, to like it started flowing. It feels like excitement because it is excitement. You're enjoying it and all of those things there. And even in the mischief phase of it, sometimes people, you get excited, you get a rush. But then eventually you have to pay for something on that. Yeah. So my thing was, it's like, I think it was just on my birthday. And I was out of it. I was completely out of it. But yeah, I was gone.
Okay.
And an altercation happened in the club and everything like that. And then afterwards, I was like, I think the bouncer come out. And I just come back from the bathroom. That was the funny thing. So I didn't start nothing. As soon as I come out, it was like, the rush was on. So I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm that frazzed. I'm like thinking. But just before we went out that night, I remember clear as day. It's like, it was the coldest day of the year. It was snowing. It was one of those days where you're just saying, we don't have to go out. You know what I'm saying? But, my people had set everything up and I was gassed to go. I said, I have to go. And everybody was ready for me. So I just felt like maybe this was supposed to have gone like that. But yeah, that night went, it was a great night anyway. And then afterwards, next thing you know, I'm outside and then the altercation kicks off. We get into scraps and stuff like that. And then I get, juked up basically. Do you know what I'm saying? On a slide. But obviously while you're in the middle of it, you don't know what's going on. So you're just swinging it out, whatever. These lot come out of the club and it's just a big old brawl kind of.
And you were stabbed up at the time?
Yeah, I got it in the back and then some sliding. Some sliding.
That's great. So you was in a bad way from that, obviously.
Well, at the time, obviously, you just think to yourself, like, you can just carry on. You're just going to get into it, whatever. Okay. I thought I was going home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I thought I was going home. It was one of those things. I was like, no, we have to do this. You're bleeding, whatever. To make it even worse, I was wearing a white shirt. You know what I'm saying? So my fresh was completely tattered.
Yeah.
But yeah, the altercation had happened. It stopped, whatever. They said, like, look, you need to go back to hospital and get stitched up. I think I'm going to be in and out. It's just another day. And while I'm going through this, I'm just telling everybody, I knew this was going to come. Because there was just too much crap that was happening. So my thing didn't start from a beef or a gang thing or nothing like that. It was just like, you carry on doing things like that every single day, or something's going to catch you. Do you get what I'm saying? So by the time I was in hospital, I thought I was going home. They was like, nah, you can't go home. You're going to have to take the air out of your body, otherwise it's going to crush your ribs and collapse your lungs. So you're not going nowhere. So I'm sitting there and they give me the tube, whatever, so it's coming out. I'm high on morphine, so everything is funny to me. I think everything's blessed and stuff. But when it really kicked in, I think is when my family started coming to see me. Yeah. And it was my mum. And she literally, I think when my mum spoke to all of us, that's when a big significant change happened with all of us. Do you know what I mean? Because funny enough, it was on Friday the 13th as well. I don't know if anybody's suspicious. So my birthday's on the 12th. Yeah. And then I've gone and put something on Facebook. Oh yeah.
Oh wait, so this was on your birthday? This is the day after your birthday?
Basically, yeah.
No way.
So like it was like I've gone on I think it's Facebook at the time.
Yeah.
So I've gone on there and I'm making a big spectacle of things. Yeah, 4 days we're gonna do this, do that. As I said, you're just in the hype of everything. Yeah. I got stopped on the first day. I was just like, this can't be happening. So I'm still because I think it's because I was drunk in the moment. It didn't really affect me. It's only afterwards it was affecting me.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, so when it actually happened, how did you feel? Like, so when you actually realised you'd been stabbed, how did you feel then? Like, what was the?
I don't feel it.
When did it click? Did you look down or did?
No. I didn't feel it because, like, as I said, it's like because we was literally when we're going out, the group's so big, there is little altercations that's coming, but your ego is up. Yeah. Because you know you're with your people, and it's not like every one of my people I can literally say like if they have to stand by themselves, they'll stand by themselves. It's not like it because of the group you're feeling powerful. You're just in that little section of your life where you're young, but you're not old enough to tell yourself, look, maybe we need to just avoid that today because it's not. So you just go in the rush. You're just in the middle of the party. So when it happened to me, I think it's only when as I said, my mum came into the hospital and she was furious with everybody. Because the annoying thing was, she must have, it happened on the Friday the 13th, obviously, well, after midnight, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So, so I'm still in the hospital. I've told everybody not to bother telling my mum. I was like, they're just going to stitch me up and I'm going to be out. They're like, you're not going nowhere. We have to take this air out of you. You're not going. So eventually...
Because if they didn't do that, that would have been life-threatening, surely.
Yeah, because if I decided to take my ass home and just be like, excuse my French, but like if I decided to take myself home, I could have been, I don't know what I would have been. I would have been doing a DIY thing and then I would have given myself more complications. Yeah. So, you know, more time as men when we try to do that, that's just a scratch or it's just a thing. You know, you're trying to do a self-healing thing and you're going to mash yourself down a bit more. But, yeah, they called mum and then she was because she worked in South London. Right. So my brother was just like, you know, he's just gonna call. So he called her. When she came up, it's like everybody's there, and the way she was fuming, that's when the light bulb was kicked on, and I was just like, I'm giving my mum hell yeah, you know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking this is just it just happens. Do you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. But I'm giving my mum some real hell here. So that's when it started affecting afterwards and stuff like that, because I was saying like she's crying here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not even funny because she's working how many hours? She's traveling like 22 miles back and forth from South London back up to West London and stuff like that. And all these things that she's given and, you know, the love and care my granddad and them not provided, you know, I'm out here just wilding out.
We kind of forget that sometimes as well. We think, okay, that sort of situation, okay, we might be able to overcome the situation that happened, but the aftermath of it is like, to your people around you, mentally as well, yourself as well. Did you have any because it's a crazy experience to go through. Did you have any sort of like PTSD or any sort of like? I'll
tell you, there was two significant points. One, I got very upset when I think the police came.
Right.
And I'm sitting there in the bed and the police are looking at me as if they say it's a gang, all because of certain family members that's come to see me, and because there's a big group. So like when they're questioning me here, I'm just like, I'm getting upset, but that's not me actually understanding, bro. You're going into this direction, like that's what you're gonna take. But so at the time, I was just like, bro, how they gonna come and ask me? I'm the only one laying in the bed here. Yeah. And you're gonna ask me, oh, retaliation's gonna happen. It's like, bro, it's not a gang. What's the matter with these guys?
It's funny you say that. I did exactly the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
The situation happened with me, same thing. And they just come in. It wasn't really, I felt like it wasn't about you and your well-being. It was more about, let's find out more about the gangs and whatnot. And it's just, where's your intentions at? Yeah, where's your intentions at? Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's true. So, you know, all of that happened. So I was a bit agitated with that. And then I think it's when the group first went back out again, which was probably like a good couple of weeks, because as soon as I'm a firm believer, just because I don't know, you know, like they say, if you're a motorcycle rider or something, as soon as you have your accident, you got to get back on that bike straight away. I'm a firm believer in anything we go through, we just got to pick ourselves up and we just got to go straight. So when we went straight back out again, this time I noticed like my instincts and my guts moving at a different pace.
There we go.
I'm calculating the room now. And the weird thing is, it's like, I still got the love of everybody and everything like that's what's going on. So I'm not uneasy in the room. My mind's tripping out and telling itself, okay, cool. So if they know the story of you've got stabbed and you're still out here, still behaving mischief, what's the next thing that somebody's gonna do after that? So now I'm just a bit uneasy in the club. I'm still smiling with everyone, still, you know, doing what I'm doing. I'm still entertaining everybody, everyone's still coming around. But it just got a bit more, you know, instead it like where we would literally move in and you see like another group of people, where you'd be more relaxed because of that situation that happened. Everyone's a bit more alert now. Yeah. So you could be moving in the club with a whole different energy now. But fortunately, nothing else had kicked off in my line. But there was some other things that happened with the man afterwards. But like I said, I got a lovely circle. I mean, as soon as my little one came, within that time period, which was a big shock, but a lifesaver for me, we all looked after each other. So that's what I'm fortunate about. So if there was anything that happened, these lot they wouldn't really include me. And do you know what I mean?
Do you think that, going back to what we were talking about earlier, with your dad not being around as much as maybe he could have been, do you think that sort of played a part in the crowd you was hanging around with and the people, like the situations you was getting yourself into? Do you feel like if Pops was around a little bit more, you would have maybe not gone down that route, or do you think it's inevitable that you went down that route because of the area you was from, maybe? To
answer that, because as I said, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and say like this is what the reason is that way. So I'm not pretend like I'm on some psychology doctor PhD level, but it's a thing where like I personally feel like, as well as the parent being around, there has to be value in what they're saying to their kids. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we've gone from that time period of where, you know, people will say like the beating of kids is borderline abuse, but some people be like, that's how you need to have the discipline, and now they're playing around with that. So the same thing is like, you know, you could still be around, but then, you know, you still got to be giving value. So I would say with my granddad being a male figure in my life, I found out that there were certain things I was doing that probably my other friends wasn't doing. And there was things that they were doing that I wasn't doing. So we was literally sharing that kind of, you know, growing up and, oh, okay, so you don't need to do that. Oh, yeah, no. And because we're moving strong in what we're saying and what we're doing, you adopt each other's strengths that way. So with my dad at the time, I would say like the same thing as some of my other friends as well. Their dads wasn't there, but they didn't have the structure of like saying what I had with a male figure in there. So they would do certain things, and then I would think, yeah, maybe mine's the same problem with that. So I used that as an excuse. But really and truly, I didn't have that as an excuse. I had a male figure. So sometimes it doesn't have to be a biological parent. It just has to be like a figure that you respect and that has got, you know, nothing but value to give to you. Because you know how it is. It's like, it's one of them things where like, you know, you could have mentors or something like that. You can have council leaders in the community, which I think is very important for children that come from broken homes and stuff like that.
But do you think they would, you know, like as in, like the dad plays a role where, you know, would you even be outside at 2 a.m. coming in drunk? Would you be doing that if a dad was around? Maybe they wouldn't have that. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe not.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Maybe not.
Whereas granddad would potentially, because he's older, he might not feel like.
Yeah, listen, my granddad would have.
Oh, he would have, yeah.
He would have dragged me up. He would have been like, you're messing about in his Cockney accent, and he would have given me a big dash stamp. But that's not to say. You see, the thing is like, I'm of an age where I can be outside like that. It's the conversations that would have done the benefit and the justice. You know what I'm saying? Because I've already got the love of the house and stuff. But as I said, it's like, my story is just more getting into mischief. So it starts off fun. It starts off exciting. You're having fun. You're doing all of this. And then eventually you get to a point where, okay, cool, we got a crossroad to go. Are we going to do this or are we going to do that? Because that's where you're going. Because there's people with real stories out there, bro, that they didn't even have an option. So once I started realizing those kind of things, I started to myself like, listen, I'm wilding out here. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't have to be doing these things because what I'm doing now is affecting the loved ones who brought me up. And that's not what I want to do. Do you know what I'm saying? So
it's interesting you say, like, obviously when you was going out that night, you were celebrating your birthday. You wasn't expecting to get into anything. Like, I know you said you felt like something could have, but your intention was to go out and party, right? And have a good time.
Yeah.
What do you think, so it's a bit of a tricky question, but what do you think was going on in the person's head who actually done that to you? Like, where do you think their head was at to actually do it? Because for me personally, I couldn't imagine premeditating doing something like that.
Well, this was at the beginning. So obviously stabbings have been around for a hot minute. But I think like I was one of 4 that happened in London that day. And only like, I think I was either only the one that survived and one was in critical thing. Right. The other has gone.
Yeah.
So for me, I was just like, I mean, if you're superstitious, I'm not superstitious, but I believe in some current event. I'm thinking to myself like, rah, this is going to be like the 3rd situation you got yourself in a melee, but now you're in a physical situation where you're damaged. Do you know what I'm saying? Your body has taken a physical damage now. So what are you going to be doing from here on out?
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to go, are you going to continue? Because the next thing might not even be as you just getting away with just going to hospital and coming back out. Do you know what I'm saying? The next thing might be you retaliating to this. So I think for that person that probably did it at the time, they could just be caught up in it. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I won't go into too much details. Obviously, everything got sorted in its own little way and whatever. But it's a thing where, like, that circle of people was connected to another circle of people, my people. And I was just thinking, we're all doing the same bloody thing.
So you was in, you
so people, so people are doing that. Yeah, it's because it's London's not really big, bro.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you really want to find somebody, you'll find them. Do you know what I'm saying? Somebody will know somebody. It's not really that big, but it's just the thing of like, I think I don't know what it is. I think for males, when you're going past that, even if your mum could be providing everything for you, or you could come from a broken home, like, we're not looking at each other any different once we all are in the same playground with each other, once we go to each other's houses. Do you know what I'm saying? I've never had none of my friends just look at somebody else's house or their mum's house and start saying, like, on my days, they ain't even got some clean dishes or something like that. No one's ever talked to each other like that. It's like, if you need something, I got that something for you. If you need help to do something, I got the help for you. Do you know what I'm saying? But, you know, for all I know, that person that was doing that, he could have had a long line of people with ways I did. Because for you to have to walk out with it at that time,
exactly, yeah.
What are you protecting yourself from? Do you get what I'm saying?
It's a vicious cycle, I'd say.
Yeah. So I could have started walking around with silly objects now, because I'm saying to myself like, oh, I'm not even never letting that happen again. Yeah.
That does normally happen as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
So if you could give advice to someone who was going down that, you know, someone who was leaving their house, maybe daily with a knife or some sort of weapon in either protection or to use it on someone in whatever way, what would your advice be to them?
To be fair, I think the best thing you could do is, first of all, talk to yourself. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the same problems that are going on, as we've discussed many times, nothing changes if nothing changes, bro. So if you're going to keep repeating the same cycle of what the ends is doing, what your brethrens are doing, but you're not comfortable with doing it, because it, as I said, it starts off exciting, starts off like that, that's the thing to do. Then afterwards, it probably gets boring after a while.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying? And as you know, like, as you get older and older, there's times where you want breaks. Think about all the man them that have been doing their thing, and the feds are on them. Yeah? The feds don't take a day off. They're paid to catch, man.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? They're paid to catch, man. So where the man, they might just be like, yeah, I want to do a little vacation. You can't do the vacation because you're still on alert. You're still doing other things. So if you want, deciding on what you want to do, have a conversation with yourself first. If you're doing what you're doing or you're wrapped up with what, plan how you're going to try and get out of it. If it doesn't go to plan, you just keep planning, you keep going and going. Because the time I was all doing that and when I was lashing out, bro, I was going through something from before. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, football didn't go according to plan as it was. I got my education, but then I'm in a course that I'm not really comfortable with. Then I'm in a relationship and that's just mashed out. So everything that's not going my way, I'm lashing out. So what I'm doing is doing the cycle of, cool, I can't wait to get up. I can't wait for the man to come and pick me up because I'm causing distractions for myself now.
Yeah.
And every time I go out, I'll lash out, you get into something in the club, or it could be a party, or, you know, drink yourself silly, come back, go to sleep, can't wait for the phone to ring again because I don't want to go back to sleep with those thoughts that I'm trying to bury off my head. But instead of me planning and trying to make my situation better, I'm causing more chaos.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm causing way more chaos.
So you have to have that conversation with yourself, break the cycle. You can see the cycle in front of you, so you got to break that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I hear you. So, that's good advice. That's good advice there for anyone within that situation going through it or thinking of or leaving the house with a knife or something like that. Yeah. So, Trizzy, from 2020 to 2021, the statistics show there was 10,150 knife crimes recorded within London, but in 2021 to 2022, it increased and went up to a total of 11,112. What do you think would be a powerful way to decrease numbers in knife crime to make the streets a more safer place to live?
You see, it's difficult to give a definitive answer that will solve the problem. I think it definitely starts with the government schemes, 1,000,000%, because there's only so much community can do. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, like, take back in the day, for instance, like if you had certain groups that were coming over to England and stuff like that, it was being a community, but then you would have like community leaders and everybody had their system, especially, you know, from old country to new country kind of vibe, and you had that respect. Now everybody's like second or third generation born. Everyone's integrating, everybody's doing their own things. Like I said before, like you get a lot of males and, you know, and females. I wouldn't just single out males in this, but, you know, everyone's trying to figure out their way and what they need to do. So you will get these things of where finding your place in that hierarchy system, as I said, you know, pockets of people will start defending themselves and they'll start getting this. But then if there's nothing to just be idle around and there's other options, do you know what I mean? It's not going to end up so violent because most of the violent things start from, I mean, if you judge it now, like most of probably the gang violence and everything that happened now, most of it probably is beef that nobody can even remember how the hell it started. Somebody will have to ask somebody else to say like, oh, raw, so like we just don't like that side because of this. And then they'll tell a story, but the youths that's coming up now, they've never even spoke to the people that had the altercation. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think if you start catching the youths early, but they've got options of things like the community centres and things to do, then you can deal with things a bit better. But
I feel like with that being said though, like there is community,
there is
stuff going on within the community.
There is, but then you have to look for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like think of yourself, like a 15-year-old Jay is not going to just get up and say, what's in the community today? They're
not going to choose to do that.
No, you're going to do whatever the boys are doing.
So if there was more of that, do you think that would help, or do you think they're going to just dismiss it, like, because they're dismissing it already though? Do you know what I'm saying? There is options to go there. There
is, but I just think they're not. You see, that's why I said it's such a techie thing, because I know people that are like in the streets, bro, and they've always been preaching out to any of the youngers. Look, you got talent, leave that alone. So it's not just a thing where like the news will keep on portraying or grooming gangs, because they're putting a fear in society, kind of, look, these people are just taking your youths and throwing them out country. Obviously that does happen as well, but then I don't think it's at that degree as what they're saying. So if instead of doing all of that and throwing it around the places, I mean, look what they're doing with this council estates. They're knocking down where kids are playing football, basketball, netball, all of that, and building up new. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting an influx of a population. If they're in a low depravity area and everything like that, if you notice in all those places there's bookie shops, there's chicken shops, you don't find that all in Chelsea. And do you know what I'm saying? So you got places where they got youths that are just hanging about in different spots.
Yep.
They got nothing to do. And then afterwards, if they got no money as well, they're going to start picking up it, and then they're going to start defending themselves. So, you know?
So would you say that stems from maybe boredom and no sense of direction of where they want to go?
I wouldn't, you see, you can't say it's just only boredom. Because sometimes, you know, how the block is set up, you're in it. You know what I mean? As soon as you come out, as we said, you come out the front door, that's what you see your environment's about.
Yep.
So if you don't know anything else other than what's going on in your environment, and that's where you spend most of your time, you become a product of the environment. So that's why I said, like with the council leaders and stuff like that, I know they do try to fight and push things forward, but I just feel like they have to be in tune with the community to understand what's going to work and what's not going to work. Don't just come and put a summer scheme and then, you know, leave afterwards and then you're just going to go. With
no real funding.
Yeah, because there's never going to be real results.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you'll get a portion of people that are strong enough to say to themselves like, okay, this is what I want to do and that's what I'm going to do. And then you got another portion of people that's just, you know, they're just going with the flow.
Yeah.
And wherever life takes them, it takes them. And 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, you know, they find themselves in that crossroads. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, if I've had a good upbringing and I've come to those crossroads and stuff like that, and that was just because I've got a huge group of friends and a huge family kind of vibe, and Mischief was still there, I don't even know what it would be like to have if I had nobody and I didn't talk to anybody and then the house wasn't in shape and stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? I start thinking to myself like, well, I would have been doing what I see, you know, somebody next door's doing. All right, cool, they got no money. Well, they're going to go and get it by any means. I'll go and get it by any means. Do you know what I'm saying? Not in this other way of pushing education forward or saying that, or showing us more of people that come from areas like that are professors or lawyers or high-tech business people. Do you know what I mean? Like, they just, you know, they're just leaving them out to dry in my eyes.
So what's your opinion on, so going back to like, obviously, knife crime and situations like that, growing up being a young'un, would you say that the sentencing, like what you'd get for a crime, what's your opinion on that right now? Would you say that's because it's not, you know,
where it gets technical again, because obviously, you know, England's like you know, there's no gun policy. In America, you can always see there's mass shootings and stuff like that. If you was to try and do that with the knives and say, you see, because a knife is it is utilised in every single day life. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you don't have to have the Rambo for it to be dangerous. You can just go and get the turkey knife in your mum's drawer. Do you know what I'm saying? And that will do if not more damage, because it's small and it will get through quicker than the big old thing walking down the street. But then sometimes it could be like these youths are driven by fear. So I've got to defend myself, like we touched on earlier.
Yeah.
And then you got some that's being like, well, I'm going to secure what I need to secure so everybody else is comfortable over here. Or you got some other people that are picking up beef, they don't even know how it started. Do you know what I'm saying? They're just going into an area, but because you're from that side and that person's on that side, you got to protect yourself. So it just gets out of hand. So that's why I say it's like, with the knife crime, it'll be difficult for you to say, oh, you'll get like a 10 if you're carrying a knife. But yet, you're taking some cooking utensils to go up the road. There's always going to be a little way that people can go around it and chew around it. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think with knives, it just gets very difficult because it's an everyday utensil, bro.
But it's not an everyday situation to stab someone.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But then you have to start attacking the minds of people and letting them understand. But then if you know somebody's threatening you outside, what do? You leave your thing at home?
Well, it's interesting. You know, you were saying about protecting yourself in situations. A lot of young ones who are doing this, they don't. Most of them, the majority of them, are coming from broken families.
Yeah.
With no father figure or vice versa, maybe no Do you think that plays a part in it? You know, like feeling safe. Maybe if pups
Yeah,
was around.
I think it goes back down to the feeling safe part, because when, like, if you feel safe, you've got you can take information a bit easier. You can understand like your platform a bit better. But when it comes down to I don't know. It's got me on that one. It's definitely got me, because I don't agree with anybody carrying a knife and then doing all those things. Like I don't want my little one just going out somewhere and there's a dozen knives in the house party, or there's a dozen knives in the club and stuff. Because
But that's what it is nowadays, though. It is that.
So I mean, we got to give lots of props and respect to those guys that go around and they start talking to the kids individually and start taking the knives off them. Those are the things that will probably make the big difference. So, you know, like, I feel like if governments like fund these people that actually are valued in the community, first of all, that have a voice, and then they can move forward and get this, you know, get the message across. Even if it changes a couple, like, you know, like a 5%, 10% in that kid's head for the day. Nah, you know what, I don't really want to get up in that. You know what I mean? I don't.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I feel like most kids who do carry knives, they're not ready to actually use it. But the fact that they've carried it now, they've got it on them and they're carrying it, they've sort of manifested that they're going to use it.
Yeah,
and then the situation, it's a cold world out there, the situation's going to come, and then they get into a situation they probably weren't even ready for.
No, bro, as we said, sorry to cut you, but it's a thing where, like, I've been in situations where there's been something there, and the feeling you get, it's like it turns from, you know, I dare somebody to do something today. And you get this ego trip. You're not thinking about the consequences. You know what I'm saying? I think if the consequences were literally being produced more, instead of like, oh yeah, I just did this and I'll do that and my thing looks shiny and all of that, then it hits a bit harder. Because like I said, my life didn't really change. Bro, even after I did get stabbed, the frame of mind didn't really change of the excitement and stuff. So when my little one come, that was a big significance. And then, you know, even her mum at the time was just like, look, I'm not even tolerating none of that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I had to make a huge adjustment and go back to the morals that I had. So as you said before, if you've got somebody that's of value that talks to you, like a mentor or figure or anything like that, that can help a lot more. So I think those community leaders that you were talking about, you know, those guys that do step out, those people that do talk to the kids and stuff, that's very important, because these kids will get attracted and attach themselves to somebody that they view is of a status. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you do have the man them that are in the streets and they actually are coming out and they're saying like, listen, I don't want the youths to get involved, you know, it's important for them to talk. Because we've all, I think every one of us have had that older in the community that's been like, put that down, you got too much to, do you get what I'm saying? And you listen to that person more than you probably would listen to your dad. Do you get what I'm saying?
Do you know what I find crazy though? Like, so we've both been in a situation where it's been on top and we nearly lost our life due to knife crime. We've been stabbed up, both of us. I think it's crazy how that, at the time, it didn't stop us going, like yourself, you went straight back out into the field. You was out, because being a man, you just got on with it and you thought, we're going to go again, this ain't going to defeat me. I was in the same boat. But it's interesting to see that, obviously, there is a purpose to it at the end of it. Like, you know, you said your daughter come along, you didn't know it at the time. And then she is your purpose, so you need to, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It was tight. But yeah, that's a tight space as well. That's crazy.
Bro, it happened within 12 months. And I thought to myself, so like, bro,
you nearly lost your life, and then 12 months later, you gave life.
Gave life, basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
come on, my bro.
So, like, I mean, look, like, not everybody's as fortunate with what happens and what they go through, but I just feel like it is important for people to understand that once you see there's a silver lining to anything that's happened or what you're going through, you got to play on that.
Yes.
You have to play on that. Like, I personally believe we're here today. Like, I've always been somebody to help. That's just how I am. That's just my nature. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if I got love for you, I've always got love for you, kind of thing, no matter what you've done or anything like that. But then at the same token, it's a thing where, like, I feel I'm not being true to myself if I'm getting myself into spaces where I'm not going to be productive for anybody. So my life doesn't feel like it's just for me. So me just having my daughter was like a huge, like, you got to fix up. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you had a great childhood with your parents and stuff like that. You need to be there for her, period. There ain't no negotiation with it. You wanted to make excuses about your pops not being around and stuff like that. you can't do that to the kids. Do you know what I'm saying? So I get touchy with kids anyway, naturally,
yeah.
because they didn't ask to be here.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So it's our responsibility to look after them. So if you can see any child that's going in a certain direction, or even if they're at a certain age where they're, you know, the teenage years and they're going into their young adult life, bro, I don't think there's any age where you could stop having a conversation. Do you know what I mean? For the benefit of somebody.
I think it's tough though, because like, obviously you switched your life around because you found your purpose having a daughter, and you wanted to, and you know, you wanted better for her as well. But imagine for them youngers who don't know their purpose right now. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have a purpose, you know. I've only just found mine over the last couple of years. Before that, I was lost. I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. And I was getting into every sort of situation that I shouldn't get caught up in. So what sort of, like, what advice would you give, like, you know, to someone who doesn't know their purpose, you know, because purpose...
Well, the thing, you see, that one's tricky, because I think you have to start at like the grassroots of who you are first.
Yes.
So, you know, like say you're going for a job or something. Say like you're in your workplace and you're like, oh, I want to change up, I want to do something different or anything like that. You got to go back and adjust your CV first. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't just be like saying to yourself, I want to leave this job and I'm just going to go there. You have to go back, fix your CV first, put the qualities of what you know and you're doing and thing. So you have to do that with your life. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you feel like you're, because let's talk about the brainwashing for 2 seconds. Everybody that seems to be recruited for anything that's bad, you know what I'm saying? And this ain't a jab at anything specific. I'm just talking about, we could go from grooming to doing anything that is detrimental to society or detrimental to that individual. They always come in a broken form. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they're looking for a purpose. So I always think to myself, like, all right, cool. As long as we got these platforms and everybody that's doing these things already, like, major shouts out to them. It's a thing where, like, they're gonna be watching. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anybody that's isolated and stuff, it's not sometimes they just sit in a dark room only by themselves. They will kind of figure out what's going on outside. Or, do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So the more of these things where we're pushing it out to say, like, look, this guy's all right, you know. He's been through some dark days and he's come out this side. Or if you got somebody, I think they might not talk to you like face to face, but they'll be on a digital format, brother. I think that's very interesting you said that, because I know at the time when I was going through what I was going through, and probably similar to yourself as well, like you do kind of, like I didn't speak to no one and I sort of thought I was the only one going through it. Yeah. I literally thought no one else is going through the situation I'm going through, because I didn't talk to no one about it. And then just looking back at it now, I was just so wrong. But so with that though, like, you know, there was loads of people going through it at the same time, or even around me, but none of us were talking. So we didn't talk. So I think what we're doing here now is it's huge. It's big moves. Huge. And like you said, you don't even need to be talking to someone face to face, but as long as you can see someone's going through something that you're going through right now, and look at them now and they're talking about it. Yeah. It's it can help. Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? It can help. We're here to do bits. Come on, bro. And that is what we're doing here, bro. We're here to do bits, man. Trizzy, you've been through a lot, my bro. But you've made it through a lot, and I'm proud of you. Thanks. And yeah, man. It's a mad story you got there, bro. But you know, you've made it out. Obviously, we all go through trials anyway. There's going to be plenty more to come. Of course. But you've made it out of the mud, and you are shining right now. Yeah. And you found your calling. It sounds like you know exactly what you want to be doing in life. And you've got your purpose and your beautiful daughter right now. And you're shining, bro. Yeah, no. We have to. I think that's what you said in that is the key. It's not so much of having the answer for whatever you're doing. It's just picking up tools and hearing little advice and adjusting to yourself, because obviously we're not here to start telling people the answer. They still have to do the work. Yes. You understand what I'm saying? And working is going to happen throughout life. You know what I'm saying? No matter what religious text you're looking at, it's always telling you got to work yourself off to get whatever just rewards you want. You get me? Reap what you sow. So every day, every month, every year, every, you know, what situation you go through, you just take the tools of what you learn from that, you adjust it to yourself, you take the advice, you make it convenient to your, relevant to your story, and you move forward, man. You got to take the value out of everything, you know what I mean? So, I mean, like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years. You can't say, but being open to learning at all times. 1,000,000%, every day. Forever a student. Yeah. That's it, my bro. That's the best way of putting it. That's it, man. That's it, Trizzy. That's some good advice right there for the people. Dog.
So my bro, we're going to get to the part of the show right now, which we call Bring the Energy, which is a Bring the Energy quiz.
Yeah.
Which we have got multiple questions to test what you were really saying. See where you're at up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you put me through the paces last week.
I know.
And so it's your turn right now, my bro. So we'll get straight into it.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
go.
I've got some questions for you. Right, okay. What is the name of the world's largest ocean?
Oh my life. I'm just gonna say Pacific. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Come on.
Yeah.
Shouts out to BBC One.
Come on, yeah.
Nature with Attenborough.
Yes. Right, so that's 1 out of 1 right now. That's good. How many colours are there in the rainbow?
Oh. 7. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I did though? I was singing the red and yellow and
okay.
Yeah, it came in handy.
Okay, so which month has 28 days?
Oh. February? Is it? I was well off.
Every month has 28 days, my bro.
No. Yeah, did it. Yeah.
Okay, the next one. Let's see. How many hearts does an octopus have?
You know what? I was gonna say 1, but there's something tricky about it. I'll go for the 2.
Oh, close. That was 3.
3. Yeah, okay.
See, we're getting educational with it.
Yeah.
We're learning as we go, my bro. Okay, next one. What is the hottest planet in the solar system?
The hottest planet?
The hottest planet in the solar system.
I don't even know. What was it? The closest? Is Venus that's close to it? Is that it? Come on, come on.
And that's at 460 degrees right there.
They're connected with the solar system. The stars are bright.
Bro, Trizzy, you're doing well right now, bro. You're doing very well.
I was nervous about this part.
It's a shame as well, you know.
Nah, it's good, God.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
What can be broken but never held?
Broken but never held. I don't know. A heart? I don't know. I don't know. You're gonna have to give it to you.
Sure.
Broken but never held. Nah. Go on.
I promise.
Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. I don't break promises anyway.
Are you a man of your word, Trizzy?
Yeah, apparently.
All right, next question. What never asks a question but gets answered all the time?
What?
What never gets asked a question but gets answered all the time?
All of this, riddle me this, riddle me that. I'm done out here. Go on, give it to me.
Sure?
Yeah, because I'm gonna say something nonsense like
Your phone.
Oh. All right, go on. You see, this is the second half of when the decline happens. Go on.
What's the next one, sir? How can you go 25 days without sleep?
How can you go 25 days without sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why you're looking at the question funny. I don't know.
How can you go 25 days without sleep?
25 days without sleep. Nah, that's lost me. I was gonna say get on a plane and go backwards in time. I don't know. What is it?
You sure?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
You sleep at night.
But, oh no! Whoa! That's some Christmas cracker thing.
Yeah.
What was that?
So how can you go 25 days without sleep?
All right.
So for the next part of the quiz, we're going to be showing you a few flags. Let's see what your knowledge is saying on flags. You any good with flags?
I think so.
Hey, that's it. We're
so.
going to find out.
All I can say is I think so. Yeah.
We're going to find out. Well, I'm going to show you this, but then you've got 15 seconds to guess this flag.
Okay.
All right.
Cameron. Come on, my G. Come on.
All right. Okay. Done well. 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2. We've got a next one for you, though.
What we got here? Maybe some island dink. Go on.
Right. You ready? 15 seconds, yeah?
Go. that Russia? Oh no, it's Poland.
Hey!
Come on, hey, my brother would never forgive me, you know.
Come on, my bro.
He would never forgive me.
Well,
Like,
I'm 2 out of 2.
been in my yard drinking drink and eating good food, and you're gonna forget.
Yeah, smashed it. What was that? That was like, that's a strong. What was the tally up? You done well, Trizzy.
It was a great percentage.
What was the tally
It was
up?
a great percent. I give myself 90.
Yeah. You done well.
It's probably more like a 60 or something like that, but nah. Them questions ain't easy, you know.
Smashed it. Also, my bro, I wanted to say thank you for coming and sharing your story today. I appreciate it, and I'm sure the people appreciate it, and I'm sure they feel like they know you a little bit more. And that's what we're encouraging right now. We're encouraging the conversation. We're encouraging telling the people what we've been through, how we overcome it, and that's exactly what we've done. So, bro, I appreciate you, and we've got plenty of more of this to come. And so let's get it, my bro. But thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you, my guy.
I'm bitchy.
Love every time, my bro. So, my people, we come to the end of the show right now, but we just want to say a big thank you to everyone supporting the show and love. If you can do us a favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on the socials, which you can find underneath in the link below. I hope you've enjoyed the show and are feeling full of clean energy and ready for the week ahead. Until next time, it's your boy Jay, and you're locked into the Clean Energy Show.
You know it's clean energy. Yeah, we keep it clean with our energy. You know it's clean.